Set that ball rolling. My name is Kayode Fayemi.
One of the many aliases of Governor Kayode Fayemi is Promise Keeper. I'm sure you will still remember JKF or Ilufemiloye. In line with keeping to the promise made to Ekiti, Governor Kayode Fayemi recently took a tour of ongoing projects in the state in readiness for the second anniversary of his administration. This is Ekiti On The Move. I am Tunji Saliu. First, to our quick takes for this week. In focus this week, Governor Fayemi tours ongoing projects ahead of the second year in office.
It is almost midway into the 4-year tenure of Dr. Kayode Fayemi as the governor of Ekiti State, and time to take an assessment tour of many of the ongoing projects across the state that span the 5 pillars of administration in the JKF 2.0. These are governance, agri and rural development, knowledge economy, social investment, and infrastructure and industrial development. Governance. Earlier in the day, on September 31, 2020, Governor Fayemi had to reshuffle his cabinet with the appointment of 7 new commissioners to replace some others, as well as appointment of 7 special advisors to, according to him, I quote, strengthen our government institutions, processes to ensure we are on course with our collective vision for a greater Ekiti, end of quote. The newly sworn-in commissioners are Barrister Akin Omole, Information and Values Orientation, Dr. Oyebanji Filani, Earth and Human Services, Mr. Akin Oyebode, Finance and Economic Development, Prince Olabode Adetoyi, Agriculture and Food Security, Otumba Oladina Adesua, Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Mrs. Olabimpe Aderiye, Education, Science and Technology, Alhaja Mariam Ogunlade, Women Affairs and Social Development, and Princess Iyabode Fakunle Okeime, Environment and Natural Resources, while Are Muyiwa Olumilua was moved to the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industries. The special advisors are Mr. Folusho Daramola, Governor's Office, Mr. Ayola Owolabi, Investment, Trade and Industries, Professor Francesca Aladejana, Basic, Secondary and Vocational / Technical Education, Mrs. Muji Fafure, Gender Empowerment and Social Mobilization, Chief Olushoga Davis, Political Matters, Chief Folorunsho Labode, Community and Rural Development, Architect Tokpe Ogunleye, Special Projects. Also inaugurated are Professor Femi Akiwumi as Chairman of SUBEB and Mr. Febishola Adewale, Commissioner, Local Government Service Commission. Immediately after the swearing-in ceremonies, and while the new appointees were still exchanging pleasantries with their guests, Governor Fayemi was already on his way to project sites across the state, beginning from the state capital, Ado-Ekiti. The first port of call was the new Ojaoba, the main market in Ado-Ekiti, which construction is now in the final stages. The entourage moved to the State Water Corporation in Ajilosun, where a comprehensive rehabilitation is ongoing on the dam and its premises. Other water projects within the state capital visited by the governor were the Fajuyi Booster Station, where a 2 million litre reservoir is being built, as well as the new headquarters of the State Water Corporation along Iworoko Road. Knowledge economy. Apart from the massive rehabilitation of schools going on in the state, the administration of Governor Kayode Fayemi embarked on the establishment and building of 4 new model secondary schools in the state capital. This is to accommodate the increasing number of students seeking admission into junior secondary schools, one of the results of improved public school system and free education policy introduced by the administration. The model schools are also to honor 4 illustrious sons of the state who have contributed immensely to the development of the state.
These are our 4 model colleges. This is Ayofasomi. Unfortunately, it's sad that Baba had passed on before we finished, but he was aware, and he had been here once or twice himself just to see the progress. And then we had Senator Banji Akintoye, David Oke, and Chief Deji Fason. These are Ekiti icons who cherish education and have contributed immensely to the development of our state. So naming these institutions after them is in itself a statement about how we cherish the labor of our heroes in Ekiti and those who have done their best to represent the values of Ekiti. All these projects are meant to be delivered by September 30th. And as you can see from the background, this is almost virtually ready, except for the finishing touches that they have to put there. And imagine the number of students that would be removed from overcrowding. Many of our schools around and within Ado-Ekiti are overcrowded. That's what has informed the Ministry of Education opening up these new schools, so that those who are living in the outskirts, you will notice that all the 4 schools are on the outskirts of Ado-Ekiti, on the road to Ikere, on the road to Ifaki Woroko, on the road to Afao, and then the one on the road to Odoado, Ijon, Agse. So these are all areas that are growing. Ado is not what it used to be when the boundary was at Christ School. When I was a student at Christ School a few years ago, let me put it that way, you didn't have anything beyond that school. Now the whole of the place is blooming and we're having more people. So for a growing city, you have to take into consideration in the planning process opportunities for new schools, for new centers of urban development, for new roads, and that's simply what development is about.
Other projects visited on the first day of the 2-day inspection tour are the 2 secretariat buildings, earlier abandoned but now nearing completion, to provide more office accommodation to civil servants. a rice mill under construction, and rice seed multiplication firm, one of the many private agri investments attracted to the state. The new Adoyin Road, as well as the imposing Civic Center.
I know. So these are the ones to plant. So just this side, you remove only this side, the match date is still doable.
Governor Fayemi gave his assessment of the tour so far.
The contractors are on site. They're trying their best to meet the deadline I've given them. This for us is a demonstration that everything we promised our people, we're doing everything within our powers to deliver on them. In spite of the impact of COVID-19 on the resources of the state, you would recall that my mantra has always been, we will not tolerate abandoned projects. Even projects that had been abandoned before we came into office, we are ensuring that these projects are completed. And projects that were abandoned simply because we left office in 2014, we have virtually completed all those projects. So this is just what we're about as a government. We make sure that we follow the vision of transformation that we have for Ekiti State. We ensure that we deliver what we have promised our people. Resource limitation notwithstanding, we have to just be more creative in ensuring that these projects are delivered.
As early as 9 a.m. on Tuesday, September 1, Governor Fayemi again hits the road to continue his project inspection, this time outside the state capital and across the 3 senatorial zones of the state. The governor inspected Ikundere firm, a public-private partnership that has attracted $5 million investment from a foremost dairy company, Promasidor, and whose progress so far excites the governor.
I'm particularly delighted here when this project started. These heads of cattle, they were looking very famished, very hungry, very weather-beaten. Now we're back here, and we can all see for ourselves that not only are they fatter, they are calmer, they are less stressed, and they have all that they need within the space of the dairy farm. And on the other side, all the milking facilities are completed. The 10,000 litre of milk storage is there, and that's what we promised, that within the 18-month period of putting this together, 10,000 liters a day of milk will be produced from this place. And the ones that we cannot exhaust in Ekiti will be out there for those who need them for sale. So we're on course. The sustainability is already inbuilt. This is a joint project, and the majority share belongs to Promesido. It does not belong to the state. I think the state has 25%. Promesido has 75%. So regardless of whether you have a government interested or not interested, the project will go on. It's a public-private partnership. And what we have donated is the facility, and the profit that we're going to make out of this would come from our share of the equity, which is 25%. And for me, that's the model we need to replicate in other parts of the state. You would have seen that we've advertised our Ikogosi project, we've advertised the fountain hotel along the same lines, and we believe that we will get good concessionaires who can come and put their expertise to use, just as Promesido has done in this particular case, and as we believe others should do. Government really is not in a very good position to run these things. We should be enablers, we should be facilitators, we should not be implementing agents of business facilities of this type. And it speaks to the vision we have. We want Ekiti to be the destination, and the preferred one at that for those who are looking for a place to work, to live, to play without stress. This is the place to come.
Other projects include the Agbado Ode Simbode Omo, Ijon Ire Ilupeju, and Oye Ishon Iye Ikun Road projects. I've done the double cell. No, I mean, oh, yeah.
Once you've done that,
So, and asphalt we have started our backside.
no, you started asphalt from
Yes, sir.
the other side. The Ijon Ire Ilupeju Road or the Agbado the Simbode Omo Road, you would notice that the drainage has been completed in many of the roads. The health work is finished. What is left is asphalting as far as those major roads are concerned, and it's the same here too. The Oye Ishon Iye Ikon Road is also going on reasonably well. When I spoke to the contractors where we stopped, they've done 8 kilometers of asphalting out of about 30 kilometers, and the drainage has been completed in the major towns in Ishon, in Aede, in Itaji, in Iye, as well as Ikon here.
Also visited were Egbe and Ero dams, which completion will make available potable water to about 75% of Ekiti residents. The governor also inspected rehabilitation of health centers at Agbado Ekiti, Ikota Ekiti, Ishe Ekiti, Oye Ekiti, and Igogo Ekiti, which were among the 17 rehabilitation projects going on in the health sector.
On the primary healthcare facilities, I think the renovation is going on well. What we need in many of the places is to now put the personnel that are not there in some cases. In some we saw the personnel, and then the equipment. Once we're able to complete that, then these facilities are as good as the general hospitals we have, or even the teaching hospital, and they can attend to the immediate needs of our people. And you know, we have one primary health center under one roof in each ward, so that at least in a ward we have a health facility that can attend to the immediate needs of the people. If it becomes more complicated, the general hospital in the local government or the teaching hospital in Ekiti can attend to our citizens that are so affected.
The governor told journalists at the end of the tour that he was satisfied with the pace of work as well as quality of work being done. At the end of the marathon tour and looking at the number of projects all nearing completion within a space of 2 years in a state with meager resources, our reporter could not but ask the governor that trending but troubling question.
Your Excellency, you have good numbers of projects. You see that what we have visited today, the airport project, the road projects. Here we are in the River. I want to ask you, sir, who is Bankole?
The question rather got the governor chuckling before responding.
Well, a combination of factors. The vision was very clearly articulated when I became governor the second time. For many of the projects, we are completing them, and of course it's costing us money. For others, one of the reasons why we are engaged there in a public-private partnership is that, one, we don't have the expertise, two, we don't have the resources in abundance. So we're looking out for people who are genuinely interested in developmental projects. We visited a rice mill yesterday belonging to a private investor. It's not our rice mill, but we provided that rice mill operator with a lot of support in order to make that possible. But when it comes to the infrastructure projects, the roads, the schools, the airport, yes, we are not in position to say we have abundance of resources. But we are in a position, because these are regenerative projects that would also earn money at the end of the day. We are engaging institutions that are ready to partner with us to fund it. We are also ensuring that the limited resources we have, after we have paid the most important thing to us, which is the salary of our wage earners, we deploy that to this project. But it's a tall order. Ekiti only accesses about 3 billion from the Federation account every month. And our IGR is in the region of about 700 million, which has been affected by COVID-19. Maybe we're making about half of that now. So it's a very tough situation. But when you're determined, when you're committed to the people, and you do not want to renege on the promises you've made, you would look for creative ways of ensuring that you deliver on the promises to the people. And I think that's really what we're doing. There's no rocket science in the approach we've taken. We have just 4 years. We have 22, 24, 26 months left now. With these 22 months, we want to finish well, and we want to make sure that these projects remain legacies that our people can refer to, and that incoming governments can also build on in the quest to develop Ekiti to that preferred destination I talk about, to live, to play, to work.
Thank you very much, sir.
And who says where there is will, there is no way? Ekiti should get ready for a deluge of project commissioning soon. Let's look at our fact file for this week. Okay, that's Ekiti on the Move this week. Thanks for being part of it. You can watch this episode and previous ones on our YouTube channel, Ekiti On The Move, and also give us your feedback on our social media platforms showing on your screen. See you next week. Bye.
Like